I'm Dr. Wendell.MOV. In 1990, with Dr. David Orth and the Queensland AIDS Council, I started the Gay and Lesbian Health Service. There were no resources at that time for people dying of AIDS, and so we did a lot of home care for people who needed palliative care at home. It was still illegal to be gay in that time, and so we needed to provide a service where people were safe to come and test, and we provided coded anonymous testing because people were too scared to test because it was illegal to be gay. Joe used to say that there were no gays in Queensland, and he was almost right, because many people would go to Sydney to come out and then come home after having taken risks to say, "Mum and Dad, I'm gay and I've got AIDS." And so we had a lot of care for people who needed to have home care for their death. Also, in 1997, I started work in prison, initially as the organist and then as the chaplain and later as the doctor. And I also cared for the last person in Queensland who was in prison for being gay because it was illegal to be gay. And so my background is that I've cared for people who needed help that wasn't always readily available. In 1991 I started GLADS, which is the Gay and Lesbian Alcohol and Drug Support Group, and there weren't any visible spaces for people with alcohol and drug issues in the gay and lesbian community, and yet it's often part of the party scene that people find themselves using drugs and alcohol to socialise or lower inhibitions or guilt, and then maybe find themselves in trouble. In 1993 I started MARS, which stands for Men Affected by Rape and Sexual Abuse, and again there were no visible resources for male victims of sexual abuse. Even when the sexual assault services in Queensland were set up, they only chose to see women, not men, and so men were left out of the equation. It's really important that people resolve their issues, whether it be rape or drugs or alcohol or HIV, otherwise they can feel rejected or alienated or invisible, and so it's really vital that people can have safe spaces to get help. I've cared for about 1,070 men who've been raped or sexually abused, but as well as that I've cared for perpetrators of sexual abuse, about 117, because there's hardly any places where perpetrators who want help can actually get help. All of this work, I guess, comes from a bit of a missionary zeal that comes from my original religion. I come from a conservative background of a Seventh-day Adventist family with a teacher mum and a stepfather who was a minister, and that sort of drove me to want to, I guess, save the world. And so as a young medical student I went to jail to work as the organist and then the chaplain, and I guess I really wanted to save other people. But in learning to listen to people and learning to accept people where they're at, I learned to respect people for being honest, and the spin-off benefit was I learned to accept myself. So my religion of origin taught me about the theory of acceptance and honesty, but the truth was I always lived in fear that if I was honest about being gay I'd get rejected within my family or within my religion. So I needed to go to jail to learn about the pragmatics of love, and that's about accepting people and being honest face to face. And if you don't do that, people think, oh, you're a do-gooder, and they want to bring you down a peg or two before they'll actually let you help them. My work's been acknowledged by many awards. In '96 I got Brisbane Citizen of the Year. I also got Australian Medical Association Best Individual Contribution to Healthcare in Australia, or Doctor of the Year. I got an Anti-Violence Award for my work in rape. And then in '98 I got the Order of Australia Medal. I also got the David Kopp Memorial Award from the gay and lesbian community for service to the gay and lesbian community, and David Kopp was a prominent gay figure who used to raise money for Wattle Bray to make the quality of life better for people with AIDS in hospital. In 2000 I got Local Hero Award, and then last year I got the Ivor Holman Award for my work in training gay and lesbian telephone counsellors in the last 19 years. I guess the greatest honour of all my awards, though, is to be trusted by people who don't trust anybody. And I guess my work has really been about learning to provide a safe, accepting space where people can be honest to deal what's important for them, whether it be sexuality, whether it be rape, whether it be past guilt from crime, whether it be alcohol or drug issues, or whether it be about self-hate. And I guess in my work I've seen about 27 suicides. Usually I'll see about 1 to 6 suicide attempts every week. So not all of my patients commit suicide, but 27 have, and many of those people have had internal pain where their own truth meant that they felt that they were worthless or hopeless. And so the key is about finding a place where you can be honest and regain your value. One of my favourite nicknames is from my friend called Wes, and he calls me Nelson Wendella, and I guess he's tapped into my passion for justice and for social equality, and I guess Nelson Mandela's a bit of my hero as well. You can see from the photos accompanying this story that I've learned how to have fun. When I was growing up as a kid, I wasn't allowed to dance because dancing was so evil. I had to sit on the side at primary school watching the other kids learn how to square dance. But now that I've come to accept myself, I'm free to dance, and some people like to lower their inhibitions temporarily with substances, but I actually like to throw out my inhibitions, and the freedom that's left is what I call dance. And so that freedom to accept yourself and express yourself really opens the door to lots of fun that you can see in the photos that I put up for you to see. I have a personal life motto to make love infectious, and that's not just some theory thing. That's about finding ways to value myself and value other people and be honest with myself and let other people be honest with me. And maybe if you could accept yourself and be honest, you might get the bug of the infection of love, and hopefully you'll be able to spread it. Have fun.